Hi there, this is another video relating to when machines skip or when they what corrupted data sounds like. Now these second generation Philips machines, this is a Philips CD204. I also have a CD104 as well. These machines, they don't like CDRs generally, and some people can't get CDRs to read at all on there. This is my test disc that I prepared when I used to modify a lot of TDA 1541 machines, principally the Rotel RCD 855. I did a lot of mods to those, but I prefer the DACs in these, which are the 1540s, dual DAC in the second generation Philips machines and first generation as well. I just wanted to demonstrate to you what can happen when you have corrupted or when the CD can't be read properly. So for a start, it takes an age to read the disc, and when it, I don't know if you can hear that. That's supposed to be dollar. That's supposed to be Etienne, I think, or Dubstar, sorry, Dubstar. This is the RA band. This is Alessi. There we go. Didn't even want to inject that time. So these are no good. Maxell, TDK, whatever you've got, they don't work very well in most machines of second generation Philips. This here is a completely different CDR. This is a Taiyo Yuden Japanese CD. Taiyo Yuden were the first manufacturers of CDs ever, and they're Japanese. And you can see the difference here. This is recorded at the same speed 16 times. It pays to experiment with speeds sometimes, but this is, there we go, let's read it and let's try that. Just put it on time there. There we go. And here, perfect. These speakers, by the way, are brilliant. Tiny, really good. Baby, you give me ice and fire. So there we go. Hopefully you can hear that over YouTube, the massive difference just between the quality of the CDR you're using. So Taiyo Yuden is the make that I recommend. Now the other thing about the skipping bit, I told you that the top bearing caused skipping. This is different from the burbling sound you heard before. Now this top bearing is a little ball bearing underneath here, this white piece here, between the black plate which rotates and the white piece on top. There's a ball bearing in between there, a little one, and sometimes that can get sort of indents on it where it's worn down. Also, you could lubricate that with some light oil, like sewing machine oil, just a little bit, just to make it glide more smoothly. And the other thing that is a problem as well is that this arm here clamps on top of the CD, and it's held under tension by these springs. And sometimes these springs, they're too much down pressure on there, and that also puts excess pressure on a bearing that might be worn as well. So the way to alleviate that is to take a screwdriver like that, flat bladed screwdriver, insert it here and bend this back very slightly, just bend it back so you're actually bending the metal slightly, and that will alleviate the pressure on this top thrust bearing, and that will stop skipping as well. So I had a little bit of skipping with this that I couldn't adjust with the torque screw at the back of the motor. You see my last video for details on that. Also the laser. But yeah, another thing that can cause skipping as well that I didn't mention before is the capacitors on the boards, either on the servo board or the CD mechanism board itself. Now obviously when they get older, they can degrade and they can cause problems as well with skipping and stuff, and audio in general. And this is extremely old now, you know, this is probably about 1986, 87, maybe 88 this came out, but it's pretty old. So the capacitors are pretty much knackered now. I've never been one to blanket change capacitors willy-nilly, because sometimes you can change the character of the sound doing that. But it's always good to test the capacitors. I have a very good capacitance meter that I can test the capacitors, and I'm going to go through the whole lot here, checking all the electrolytics I'm talking about, not polyester. Electrolytics are the ones that break down. So yeah, that's another thing you can do, particularly if you've got to leave the machine to warm up a bit before it will read a disc. That is a classic capacitor problem, electrolytic capacitor problem. If you leave it on for say an hour or something like that, you still got problems with reading a disc, and it's unlikely to be the capacitor that's causing that principally. I'm talking about if you have to like let it warm up a bit, and that's the capacitors warming up basically and starting to work a little bit better. So yeah, so there's a few little tips there. First one, obviously, I recommend Taiyo Yuden if you're going to use CDRs and record your own material on CDRs. Taiyo Yuden, not Maxell, TDK or any other of the makes, because they just won't work very satisfactorily in here. You'll get errors, and in the worst case scenario you'll get the sort of reproduction you heard through this using the Maxell. And Maxell are one of the better ones. TDK are good as well, but not in these machines. I recommend Taiyo Yuden. And the other thing I wanted to say is this here. Just you can tension this or lubricate that bearing. And the third thing that I mentioned is to do with the electrolytic capacitors on the CDM1 mechanism itself, and also on the servo board, can cause skipping problems or reading problems from cold, and when it warms up it will read. So there we go, there's two big tips for you there. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope this helps someone.